Hi and welcome back. I just spent 6 weeks in Georgia and today I'm going to talk about where I went, how much it all cost, and then I'll talk about whether or not I could see myself living in Georgia for a longer time, and then I'll also give you at the end a little bonus which will be a suggestion for a 1 week or 2 week itinerary if you're thinking about coming to the country of Georgia. If you're new here, my name is Kyria, and last year I retired early to travel the world full time. And since then, I've been doing a variety of different things, but the last thing has been to be slow traveling around the world. Let's get started. First of all, I'm just gonna give you a quick rundown of where I went and some of the things you can do in these places. My first stop was the city of Batumi, which sits right on the Black Sea. They have a really nice promenade, plenty of good things to eat, and a lovely central square. The next stop was the town of Mestia, which sits in the mountains, and I really enjoyed spending a few days there hiking and again eating lots of yummy Georgian food. The next stop was the city of Kutaisi. This is Georgia's second largest city, and there's plenty of things to do, including plenty of monasteries and churches, as well as just fun wandering around the town. My next stop was the city of Borjomi. This was a really nice jumping off point for some mountain hikes, but also has hot springs and mineral water. The next stop was the city of Tbilisi, where I spent a month. I spent my time there wandering around, hiking, swimming, and of course, again, eating. While I was in Tbilisi, I also did some day trips to the wine region of Kakheti, where you can also see the way that they make local bread and taste lots of local wines. Additionally, I went to the area of Kazbegi, which sits in the mountains near the border of Russia and is a beautiful area, and there's lots of hiking and things to do there as well. So now that brings me back to Tbilisi, where I ended my journey. Okay, now that we've covered that, I'm going to go over how much I spent for a full 40 days in the country of Georgia. The bulk of this was in the city of Tbilisi, which was 30 days. So at the end, I will tell you how much out of the full total was spent for the 1 month in Tbilisi. So first, let's talk about accommodation. For accommodation, I spent $842. Like I said, 30 of those days were in Tbilisi, and that Airbnb for 30 days cost me $668. Next, let's talk about dining out. For dining out, I spent $190. In this case, I usually went out to dinner a couple times a week and lunch about once a week. And the average cost for dinner or lunch was basically about $12, and that often included a couple of glasses of wine. For groceries, I spent $157. So all in all, for the food cost per day with groceries and dining out together, this comes out just under $9 a day. For entertainment, I spent $78, and that included a walking tour in Tbilisi and a tour to the Kakheti wine region, which is near Tbilisi, as well as a tour to the mountain area of Kazbegi. Tours overall are quite reasonable in Georgia, and you can often get them for anywhere from $20 to $40. For health, I spent $172. This included $109, which is my normal health insurance premium, as well as a dental appointment, which was $63. For shopping, I spent $166, and this included a new pair of running shoes, which cost me $155. For transportation, I spent $64, and this included getting from all of the cities I already went over and to the next city, as well as the public transportation in Tbilisi. For utilities, which is my phone, I did spend $7, which was the cost of the eSIM for my period of time that I was in Georgia. I also spent $143 on fixed costs. As you know, this is my credit card fees, any like cloud storage and security like NordVPN, and I prorate this out into a daily amount, and then I add it back in depending on how many days I stay. And last but not least, I'm leaving this one last because it's miscellaneous, and obviously this is going to vary a lot for everybody. I ended up spending $325, but $150 of that was notary fees because I sold my house, and then another basically $150 of that was the shipping for the documents back home. So this is obviously something that not everyone's going to have. So basically you can take out $300 from the total here for yourself probably. So all in all, the grand total comes to $2,147, which comes out to about $54 a day. So let me just break down really quickly the different locations I was in and kind of the cost of each of those. So Tbilisi obviously was the most, and that was about $1,723, which is $57 a day. So the 10 days in all the other places basically was about $423 total, which comes out to about $42 a day. So all in all, Georgia is not very expensive, even if you do some tours and things like that. But of all the places, Tbilisi was the most expensive. Okay, so now the question is, would I want to live in Georgia or in Tbilisi for a longer period of time? And I think the answer to that is yes. As you probably know from some of my past videos, I really enjoyed the country of Georgia. I really love the fact that you can easily go hiking, whether it's in Tbilisi itself or if you just go out of town a little bit. There's so many opportunities to get into the mountains and do active things. I mean, I didn't even touch the surface, but you can do mountain biking and skiing and all kinds of other things that I didn't even do. So there were also a lot of churches and things like that that I didn't get a chance to go to as well. So I just think that I would be able to go back there and stay longer and still find things to do with no problem. I also found the people quite friendly. The food was delicious. A couple of dishes you definitely have to try. There is an eggplant appetizer, and it's basically eggplant with walnuts. The walnuts are kind of like hummus, but they're walnuts instead of pine nuts. So it's like a paste in the eggplant. And even if you don't like eggplant, you have to try it. It's very good. It's very good. Also, the other thing you can try, of course, is kinkali, which is like a dumpling. Or you can try the khachapuri, which is a bread with cheese on it. So those are kind of the popular tourist things to try. But some of the other things that I really like are osti. And the other one is oja curry, which is like, you can get it pork or beef. I got pork, I like pork. But it comes with potatoes and pork kind of in one of those little skillets like a fajita. And it has lots of garlic, lots and lots of garlic. So just beware. And when I was there, it was mostly the end of May and then the whole month of June. The weather was good. It wasn't too hot, but even if it was hot, you could go swimming. So I went swimming in Turtle Lake, and I just think that the opportunity for things to do were sufficient for me. So now I'm gonna cut to my past self to wrap this up, where I'm gonna talk about a itinerary for 1 week or 2 weeks if you do decide to come and visit the country of Georgia. All right, so now you've heard all of the different places that I've been and where I recommend you going, but now you want to know what is the best thing to do if you only have a week to come to Georgia. I would suggest if you're flying into Tbilisi, spend a couple days in Tbilisi. There's plenty of things to do there. And then I personally, because I like hiking, would say Mestia was probably my favorite place. So if you like hiking, you can go there and do a couple of day hikes. You can also do the Mestia to Ushguli trek, which I believe takes 3 or 4 days, depending on how fast you are. So if you're into that, you can do like a hut-to-hut hike, basically. Even if you're not into hiking, though, it's a beautiful area, and you can get a car up to Ushguli and go check that out. Or you can do a shorter hike to a glacier. So there's plenty of stuff to do. But if you don't feel like staying there too long, you could just go for a couple of days. And you could stop in Kutaisi on the way and go to the Mart Valley Canyon. And from Tbilisi, you can do a ton of day trips. So from Tbilisi, you could actually just use that as your base and do a day trip to the wine region and a day trip to Mart Valley Canyon. And then you can do day trips to Kazbegi if you want to. It is a very long day. But Mestia, I would suggest going for more than 1 day, for sure. So that would be my 1 week suggestion. And if you have 2 weeks, then I would say do everything. Spend a couple of days in each of the places that I've gone over. And especially, like I said, Mestia is one that I think is worth staying a few days in. It's just got a really laid back vibe. You can do a couple of easy out and back hikes, and you can get really, really nice views within only a couple of miles of walking. And so I really think it is worth your while. But otherwise, Tbilisi, there's tons of stuff to do. And with all the day trips and things like that, you could easily find plenty of things to do in 2 weeks. And if you have a little bit of extra time, you can go to Yerevan. It's only about a 6-hour ride away, and spend some time there as well. So now that I've talked about all of this, let me know, have you been to Georgia? And if so, what was your favorite place? Did I miss anywhere? And once again, thank you very much for watching, and happy travels.